Well, I guess we're back at a familiar location, aren't we? Once again, we return to Black Rock Mountain. And we're once again going to be facing a familiar foe. Oh, look at that. Someone running out, probably after doing the classic raids in there. Which I don't mind going back to do Blackwing Lair from time to time. Speaking of Blackwing, so you remember one of the raids that we did back in Classic called Blackwing Lair, where we faced the son of Deathwing named Nefarian? Well, in Cataclysm, he was able to be brought back. So the first raid in Cataclysm we're going to be taking a look at is Blackwing Descent. And by the way, it's actually not in there. I'll show you in a moment. Nefarian and his warped attempts to create a new breed of dragon were thought to be defeated after his death in Blackwing Lair. Yet tales have emerged that his father, Deathwing, has reanimated Nefarian and set him to work in Blackwing Descent. The gruesome experiments being conducted there are feared to be on a level of wickedness far surpassing Nefarian's previous crimes against nature. So yeah, if you thought Nefarian was bad before, he's even worse now. So yeah, there was this thing about his dad, Deathwing, coming back, coming out of the maelstrom and apparently being capable of resurrecting him back to life because he can do that, apparently. And, yeah. By the way, does this look familiar? This is where we fought him. In fact, can I actually go through there? Can I go through this portcullis? I can't, but it doesn't do anything. Alright, so if you recall, this is the platform where we fought Nefarian in Blackwing Lair. We made our way through inside, and we made our way out here where Nefarian was sitting right there, and we talked to him and he said, "Let the games begin." So, we come back to this place where we fought him once before. In fact, who is that right there? Black Talon Agent, a servant of the Black Prince. Really? Apparently he won't talk to me. You can see there, that's the entrance. And you see the skull there. That represents Heroic. And yep, there's the throne right there. That's where he sat before. Behold, I am the king of Black Rock Mountain. None shall ever challenge my rule. Okay. What I was gonna say is, you probably noticed that I have this set for us to do Heroic. We are gonna do this on 10-man Heroic because, and this is something I really like about this raid. And for one thing, I love the fact that Nefarian is voiced by Chris Metzen. It's just fantastic. He does that type of voice so well. He's able to just pull off that voice really well, which is why I've always enjoyed Chris Metzen's voice acting. But, of course, back in the days of Vanilla and Classic, they really didn't do that much voice acting, and voice dialogue for the characters. It was all text, and you had to kind of picture in your mind, other than a few key little phrases, like when he said, "Let the games begin." That was like the only thing that really came across in the voice acting for Blackwing Lair. There were exceptions from time to time, like in Molten Core when we went down to see Ragnaros, and he's like, "Too soon." But for, like, Ragnaros got the voice lines, but you would probably notice from time, throughout Vanilla and Classic that there was not much voice acting. As the game has gone on, that's changed, and they've tried to add more and more voice acting, realizing that having good voice actors and good voice acting really helps with, like the atmosphere and such of the game. So for this raid, I imagine they went to Metz and they were like, "Okay, look, Chris, we're going to bring Nefarian back. He's going to be in a raid. We want him to be more of a presence, kind of a taunting presence, kind of like how the Lich King was throughout Wrath, where in this raid you're going to be talking to the raiders throughout, you're going to be kind of taunting them. In fact, in Heroic mode, we're going to have you have extra dialogue, because as they're facing bosses, you will then show up and kind of buff them. and kind of be like, ah, let me make them stronger for you, you pathetic mortals. And I imagine Metzen was like, oh yeah, awesome, yeah, I'll definitely do that. That's awesome. That sounds great. So that's why we're going to do this on Timhan Heroic, because I want to show off some of the extra dialogue that Nefarian has throughout this raid, because he's a constant presence throughout this. Every time we face a boss, he's going to be like, ah, and now you face this other minion of mine. So for those of you who probably are not that familiar with Nefarian's character, and this is actually one of the reasons I really like Nefarian as a villain and as a character, even more so than Deathwing. He's that type of, like, really sinister, smart, intellectual villain that I think is, like, one of the more dangerous type of villains. A villain that's not very smart, you know, that's just brute force, brute strength, you know, kind of like a lot of the Demon Lords in Legion, where they're like, oh, we are mighty, you will never stop us. That's kind of like, and then we defeat them, they're like, how did you defeat me? Villains that are smart and just are very intelligent, that they're like, they have like chess player levels of intellect, those are the terrifying ones. That's why we beat Archimond really fast and early, you know, because he was just like, I will destroy you all. While Kil'jaeden has been around a lot longer, he's been in the background, he's a schemer. He's like, I'm gonna send this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. He's been in the background a lot, doing a lot of things behind the scenes, and he's been around a lot longer because of stuff like that. Like, Onyxia and Deathwing, they're the brute force ones. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna smash you. Whereas Nefarian is like, he's the scientist. He's the guy in the lab. He's actually very smart when it comes to things like alchemy and such. And you'll see that in this raid. Like, he is a scientist through and through because he is constantly doing all these different experiments, trying all kinds of different things to accomplish his goals. And some of them are horrifying experiments. Like, we're talking like inhumane levels of science here. Like, you know how they say you can't use human test subjects? Well, yeah, Nefarian's like, yeah, forget that. And he just like goes above and beyond that. That's the type of being that we're dealing with when it comes to Nefarian. And that just makes him all the better of a villain, so that when we take him down, it's even better. You know, compared to someone like Deathwing, who is just like, I will destroy you all. Nefarian's like, he's like, how's another good example of this to describe Nefarian? He's the type of villain who will have caused you to do something. You thought you were doing the right thing, and then you end up doing something horrible, or you get framed for something horrible, and then as you like are getting accused or punished, he then like becomes visible to your sight, and he just kind of like winks at you or waves you, and he's like, hi, like letting you know, like, I did this to you, have fun with that. That's the kind of villain that Nefarian is. Now, he'll get his hands dirty sometimes, as he did in Blackwing Lair, but for the most part, he likes being a, you know, that kind of intellectual, smart villain, and I love villains like that. So, also I need to do the achievements for beating this on Heroic. So, let's go into Blackwing Descent. There you are.
Mortals that fancy themselves heroes have entered the Broken Hall. Oh, I do hope this raid will amuse me more than the last.
Oh my gosh, he broke the fourth wall. We got fourth wall breaking here, and wow, now Metzen breaking the fourth wall. Hope you enjoy this raid more than the other. So another thing they started doing in Cataclysm, something that I really like, is they added a bit of extra lore or something for each boss. So like up here, this first boss, the Omnitron defense system. You'll see then here, like, it used to be you could only select the model and see what loot they drop, but now if you go to abilities, you'll also see a little bit of a summary about this boss. The Omnitron defense system was once touted as the Dark Iron Dwarves' greatest technological marvel. When Nefarian arrived in Blackwing Descent, he repurposed the rundown systems to annihilate anyone intruding on his laboratories. Alright. Whop. Whop. Ooh. The Roughoon remote, huh?
It's
Alright.
too far away.
Oh, there we go. I think I messed it up because I realized I killed it too fast before I could get that extra dialogue from Nefarian, which I assume was gonna be here. I just messed that. My bad. Oh, I got it. The Roughoon remote. Nice. Tinytron. You've collected this appearance but not from this item. The power mode. I'll take it anyway. Haha, I got the Tinytron pet. Favorite that. Nice. So if you're wondering why that showed the 1 of attempts, I've added a mod recently called Rarity. Yeah, this one here. It's a great way to try and keep track of all the different mounts and pets that you perhaps don't have that are based on drop rates. And it keeps track of how many times you go for it, what your chances are every time you go for it. So, like, if you make an attempt and you don't get it, your likelihood percentage increases. I still don't fully understand how it tracks the luckiness thing, but it's kind of like it's new to me, so I'm kind of learning it. As you can see, I've mainly been focusing on trying to get Ashes of Alar. I really want to get that. As I said in when we did Tempest Keep, it's really easy to try and keep going and farming this because you can just literally go straight to Kael'thas because it's so small and condensed, and just only focus on farming Alar and just ignore the other 3 bosses. So that's why that was there. Alright, so here's our next boss. Magma. Magma is a colossal lava worm summoned from the Firelands centuries ago by Ragnaros' dark iron servitors. Nefarians largely considers Magma a worrisome pest, but has grown fond of feeding the beast his failed experiments and servants. Important. On heroic, arise to observe the adventurers contend with his pet and thwart their efforts. Alright, so I guess this skull icon, yeah, so this is stuff specifically for heroic. Okay. Was there any stuff with Nefarian there? For this one? The Magmatron guy? No, maybe there wasn't. Oh no, he does. Okay, so I messed it up, my bad. I'm gonna try and not kill this thing too fast.
I'm out of range.
Where are you, Nefarian? Oh, there he is.
I found this fascinating specimen in the lava underneath this very room. Magma should provide an adequate weapon for your pathetic little bat.
Sure.
On second thought, what fun is an adequate challenge?
I think I was just flying there like, I'm gonna watch this.
You may actually defeat my lava world. Perhaps I can help with the scales.
Yeah, see? So now he actually tries helping.
You won. How disappointing. I could have easily
Watched you all continue to stand in the fire. I hate that it cuts off the dialogue like that. Huh? Can't pick those up. So I think I figured out that issue. So I thought it was a bug, but apparently it seems like it only lets me pick up the highest level of armor that I can wear. So for a paladin, it seems to only let me collect the appearances of the plate items, but not all the others. So I can't collect mail, leather, or cloth with my paladin. Only my plate armor pieces. I don't know why. That's a thing. I wish it wasn't. I really wish I could just collect all 4 types, because that would certainly make things easier. But hey, if I have to, if I have to try and do this with other classes to get specific types of armor pieces, fine. Alright, so that was just those first 2 ones. So now we go to the next level. And this is where things start to get really terrible. And what I mean by that is in terms of the horrific visuals and of what Nefarian has been doing. Look up there. Those are dead dragons that he has been experimenting on. And he has them just kind of strung up in chains like decorations. That is just terrible. Yeah, a lot of horrible things happen to a lot of the different dragonflights throughout this expansion. Like what Nefarian does, but also what Deathwing does. And I think they expanded more on this in the books and such. Like some of his interactions with others, like Alex Straza. Like, it gets really bad. Alright, let's see. Who is next on the list? And who is over here? Alright, so it's a little different. Alright. Terrifying, ugly, evil. Kill it. Wait, is that the actual description in the adventure guide? Yeah. Terrifying, ugly, evil. Kill it. Alright, so we have some other named, black dragons here. This is Pyrocraw. He's basically serving as a tougher form of trash that we have to get through before we get to the next boss. The Den of the Devourer. Hello? Finkel Einhorn. Oh.
Chimera. Truly a living testament to my scientific prowess. I reworked and twisted his form countless times over the years, and the final result is truly something to behold.
You are a horrible being, Nefarian. You are just awful. Oh! Okay. I didn't realize that apparently he could just insta-kill you. Instant death mechanics. Oh boy, do I love those. Well, I was trying to hold off on killing him too fast to get that extra dialogue. In fact, let me just double check. Mocking Shadows. He inflicts shadow damage every second to all players. Okay. I'm trying to get the extra dialogue here from Nefarian, but if it's gonna insta-kill me... Oops. Is there a certain... Oh, at 20% health. Alright.
I need to get closer.
living testament to my scientific prowess. This fight has got my reworked and twisted his form countless times over the years. And the a shame to lose that experiment.
Great job, guys! The key should be in his gut somewhere. Just, fish around in there until you find it.
It's locked.
Yep. Yeah, I ain't going through that thing for the key. Sorry, Einhorn, you get yourself out. Bye.
Well, wait! Where are you going?
I'll see you later. Alright. Now, next up, this one's interesting. And we're actually going to see a bit of a flashback to help explain this. Hold on, let me get this trash out of my way.
I need to get closer.
Alright. Atramedes, or Experiment 25463D, is a failed attempt to bestow enhanced senses on a black dragon whelp. The toxic salve applied to the broodling robbed him of sight, forcing him to rely on sound and smell for survival. A tragic story, if Atramedes weren't so evil. But is he, though? Is he? Meddles in the fight, randomly opening portals and allowing obnoxious fiends to enter the fray. Back a random player and tries to increase that player's sound. Because, of course, the more sound you create, the more he'll come and attack you. You notice all these different shields here? That's part of the mechanics of this fight. Because, of course, he's a... Well, you'll see in a moment, because I believe... How do I start the cutscene here? So I have to take care of all these guys here? Well, I have to.
I'm out of range. I need to get closer.
Oh, yep, here we go. Got it.
Ah, Maloriak. How gracious of you to finally appear from that quarantine you call a laboratory. What have you got this time?
My sincerest apologies for the disturbance, my liege. But I believe I have something you may be very interested in.
By all means, enlighten me.
Yes, yes! By extracting agents from the blood of various dragonflights, I have created a salve that will bestow the wearer sight beyond sight! Senses beyond this realm of mortality! Atramedes, your master beckons! I present to you experiment number 25463-D!
It appears as though your experiment has failed. That whelp has gone completely blind. Look at him. Look at him!
How could this be? I will dispose of him immediately!
No, not yet. This object of your chagrin may still prove valuable to me. Leave now, pathetic alchemist. I anxiously await your next failure.
Yes, my lord!
If you're wondering who that is, we will actually be facing him after we're done in this room. He's going to be the next boss we take on. And I'll talk a bit more about who that is and why they are that way in just a moment. But first, let's ring this bell. And you saw how Atramedes was just simply a little baby whelpling? Well, take a look at how old he is now. Yeah, he's a full-grown adult now.
Need for eyes to see my enemies. Your clumsy footsteps and foul stench give you away. Atromedes, are you going deaf as well as blind? Hurry up and kill them all.
Oh, there you are.
Atromedes, the heroes are right there.
This miserable existence finally ends. You know, it's hearing that, I feel so bad for Atromedes. I mean, the adventure guy said he was evil, but was he though? I mean, he was just a baby when that happened to him. And then when you kill him, he says, "Thank you for ending this existence." He hated living like this. Alright, so now let's go take care of the scientist that did that to him in that flashback. Maloriak. The human, Mallory, yes, this used to be a human. The human Mallory was a bright young alchemist until he was kidnapped by Nefarian and fused with the corpse of a dragon spawn. The result, Maloriak, is a bumbling minion who possesses only a dull glimmer of his former intelligence. So Nefarian was like, let's see what happens if I merge this with this, and let's see what happens. Because he apparently wanted this alchemist to work for him. So he's like, fine, I'll just do this to you and see and get you to work for me. And it made him loyal to Nefarian, or, you know, I guess made him more susceptible to agree to work with Nefarian. But it destroyed his intelligence. Thus why there were so many failed experiments, including the one that was just done to Atromedes. Now, I've heard this was actually one of the tougher fights in this raid back in the day. Let's see. Nefarious throws dark magic into the cauldron, causing vile swill to spew from the cauldron. Blast to 20 degree, stage 2. Let's see. Alright. It's time for you to pay for what you did to Atromedes.
There can be no disruptions. Mustn't keep the master waiting. Mustn't fail again.
Nefarian.
Maloriak, try not to lose to these mortals. Semi-competent help is so hard to create. Your mechanics are weak, Maloriak.
Throbs in my brains. Crime subjects, devour them.
Congratulations! Allow me to grant you a title befitting the amazing achievement you just performed. Henceforth, you shall be known as the Slayer of
stupid, incompetent, and disappointing minions. You can see that's my actual title now. You have earned the title, Slayer of Stupid, Incompetent, Disappointing. It's even showing here. Oh, so funny. So, that only leaves one boss left. Master Adventurer Award. Thanks for killing my worthless minions. 30 minutes remaining. So there he is down there. And And that is what's going to kick off the next fight. Which, of course, as you would think, is Nefarian. We've taken down everyone else in here, so now it's time to take him down once and for all. Deathwing's son, Nefarian, gained infamy for his horrifying efforts to create chromatic dragons from the essences of Azeroth's various dragonflights. After his death in Blackwing lair, he was reanimated and charged by Deathwing to continue his insidious endeavors. Yes, it's already been given away there, as you can see. Form of his sister, Onyxia, and the two dragons attacked the raid. The children of Deathwing. Yeah, so we're about to face Nefarian and Onyxia. You remember how I mentioned her when we were talking about that? By the way, in case you didn't see, that was my Onyxia mount that I got recently. I'm so happy I got that. That actually has less of a chance of dropping than Ashes of Alar. Anyway. He decided to just completely experiment on his own sister. Yeah. Huh. Place your hand on the orb.
The heroes have made it to the glorious finale. I take it you are in good spirits, prepared for the final battle. Then gaze now upon my ultimate creation. Rise, sister. Behold the broodmother, Onyxia, reborn. Perhaps my finest work. My dearest sibling, do you hunger?
Do you hunger? Then feast upon our enemies. Okay. And Nefarian's gonna, I guess, fly around.
See how the shadow flame animates them.
I think I messed up that phase, or that whole thing, because I think I attacked Nefarian first before I attacked Onyxia. But, basically he would take down Onyxia, and then he would, like, be like, ah, ha, 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 and then the lava would rise, and then you would have to get on one of these platforms. And then you would have to, I mean, there's a whole achievement based around this, and I'll do that on my own time. But yeah, we were basically facing the son and daughter of Deathwing in this fight, which was like a big thing. And this is it for Nefarian. At this point, he is still... This is the last time we saw him. I don't think he's going to be coming back anytime soon. I wouldn't mind if he did in terms of a character or a villain or a bad guy, because I really like it. Oh, look at that. The Pauldrons of the Apocalypse. Take those. Ooh, the Fist of the Dragon King mace. I'll take that transmog. Alright. So that is it for Nefarian, the son of Deathwing. This time he should be gone for good. So yeah. Nice condensed mount here with some cool, you know, like, I like some of the stuff, obviously, with Nefarian's dialogue. I love that they just let Metzen just do a bit more with the character in this raid, especially on Heroic. Sorry, I kind of skipped some of the stuff by accident, but, I mean, it's, you know, you can always be able to go back and, you know, check out some of the rest yourself. Unfortunately, it also has a tendency to cut off some of the extra dialogue, even if you do encounter it, so. Alright, so his experiments have come to an end. So, next time, we will be delving into the Bastion of Twilight. Which, by the way, let me point this out. This is yet another scenario where doing it on normal is different from doing it on heroic, because this is all you fight on normal. But once you check out Heroic, you get an entirely extra boss. So we will be doing 10-man Heroic Bastion of Twilight next time, where we get to encounter one of my absolute favorite characters, Cho'Gall, who you get to hear throughout the raid. It's wonderful. And then Sinestra, and we'll talk a bit more about Sinestra next time. Stay tuned.